My name is Chantal Crousel. I have a gallery in Paris since 1980, actually, under the present form. And it is like since 1982 that I have been attending Art Basel. I'm from Belgium originally, and I came to Paris in 1972, where I studied art history, did my my thesis on the Cobra group, and then started working for some galleries like Alexander Iola's before starting my own very first experience in 1976. It was very different. It was much more local, concentrated on mainly European and American art. We did not know that much. We knew about Latin American art through the exchanges with, of course, the historical exchanges and the historical links between Latin America and Europe, and the historical links between the US and Europe. But it was a much more localized situation, and a one-to-one person relationship in general, because of course we didn't have the internet, which changed totally the art scene as soon as it got active. I have never considered being a woman as a challenge. And one of my big examples when I was studying in Paris was Ileana Zonabend, who had a gallery in Paris that she had to close because the market was very low for the mainly American artists who she was representing. But it was not because she was a woman, it was just because the interest on the French scene, collector scene, was not going towards the kind of work that she brought. Also because I was not French, I did not want to enter in competition with French galleries who were representing French artists who I did not know that well at the time. So I wanted to bring artists of international origin who I had discovered in Belgium and through my many travels to different biennales and art exhibitions. So from the beginning, my program was really very international, but not, of course, not excluding French artists who I was really interested in knowing and bringing to the scene. One of the first ones being Sophie Calle, who came to me as a young, non-declared artist, and I started showing her work. But the very first artist who I really put on the map was Tony Cragg and Irma Blanc and Pino Pinelli, who were artists who were not at all known in France, and then followed by Alighiero Boetti, who I did the first show with in 1981, first show in France, and did not sell anything. So it was a tough time to making a position and getting known. But little by little, and by being stubborn and not listening to anyone else, the gallery took shape, and it is where it is now. And I'm very proud and happy to have brought it that far, and still being one of the most active galleries in France. And since the year 2000, my son has joined me first to taste the possibility of being involved with the gallery, and now 15 years later, 16 years later, being a full partner in the gallery. Well, I had very strong relationships with all of my artists, and for many artists it was their first show in France, and many times it was a very young, the artists were very young, and it were among their first exhibitions. And because I felt very strongly about the originality, the innovative, and also strong content of their work, I trusted that it would work, and in general it was very early recognized by the French museums and also by the foreign collector scene in art fairs, traveling to different countries, but also the biennales, the documentas. There has not been one of the biennales or one of the documentas that were not bringing one of the artists I represented. So that created a scene of trust, of international recognition, and France has been following that. But in general, the recognition came from abroad and was then confirmed in France, even with our French artists, I must say, which makes me a little bit sad. But it's happening. To be a gallery is to be an exchange place, an exchange platform of discovering and accompanying artists who have something new to say, and accompanying them from the very beginning through their growth, understanding what they are going to, what they are aiming at, and bringing it over, transmitting it to the proper collectors who can confirm that message, that content, that statement, and that collection in the end. Not just intuitive. It's based on a knowledge of art history, of the society we live in. The artists or the artists who interest me, or antennas of the society. And not only do they feel the society with its different aspects, but they can translate it, bring the society in an image that people discover sometimes. And then very soon after, it is confirmed that the artists have seen right, that they have had the right vision, and that they have brought a new and proper form to express that vision and that content. At some point, at the starting point, it's almost a confidence and a revelation, and then it goes forward, and you could say it's articulated either progressively or it bursts out as a confirmation, as a statement. And that is the most exciting moment of a collaboration. And then, as important as that moment is to continue accompanying, to continue framing, to continuing even to be able to discuss the work, even to be critical or to be encouraging. And it's a matter of mutual trust, not only on the side of exhibiting and bringing the work forward in an understandable way, but also then to bring it to the collectors who will build up the message and continue building their own configuration of how they see the world. And when that matches, it's the most beautiful achievement. I think one of the special moments is the exhibition of a French artist, Jean-Luc Moulin, who has been working with the gallery since 2003, and who has had a certain resistance because his work has many different directions, forms, visually, and the content is always very the same line, but he's speaking mainly about society, about society, the person, individual in society, between nature and society, and between progress and society. And he will have a solo show in the Pompidou Center now in the fall. And 3 years ago, he had a solo show at Dia Beacon, and that was his first big show, but it was outside of France. So that was really a very strong breakthrough. And now that he has a show at the Pompidou, it will not be a retrospective show, it will be a show with only new works, which will confirm his vitality, his recognition, and now his worldwide recognition and progress. Yes, we show most of our artists with other galleries. In many cases, we have been among the first ones to show an artist, and then they are also working with other galleries who we appreciate a lot. So that is also a very good, a very satisfying result of our work and of the collaboration on a worldwide level with galleries with whom we share the same ideas. It's something we are thinking about. We would rather expand in Paris, stay in one place, than to expand in different cities spread over the world, because I think it is very important that there is one voice speaking, and that you can only do in one place. But on the other hand, we participate in 9 art fairs, and that is our way to expand through the year and to go to meet our collectors and bring the work to places where we have connections, or where we build up new connections with collectors and with museums. And you have the art fairs, but you have also the biennales that are a platform to meet institutions and collectors, and where the artists have a chance to show whatever scale work they want to show, but with new work. So for the moment, that is our goal, and it gives us plenty of responsibility, and that is the way we want to work so far. There is a lot of interest, more and more, in art of all levels, and I would say it's a very good moment to be in Paris. I enjoy it very much. I think it's not the first point one should look for, but definitely I am convinced, even beside the financial aspect, if a work is good, if a work is interesting, be it an unknown artist, be it a forgotten artist, with all the radars that are scruting the whole world and the whole history of art, a good work will definitely find its place. You need to have a notion of art history, of the art of the time, and a critical vision to distinguish the work that is really outstanding. There are great examples of collectors with a small budget, but with a great vision and with the knowledge of art history, but a great vision on the art of their time, who have been, without hesitating, go for their coup de foudre, their instinctive attractions to work. And many times it was work, and it is still work, that is creating a friction that you are not sure of, that you are a bit disturbed by, because it's opening up a gap in something that you were convinced you knew, and all of a sudden the work brings you in a doubt, and it brings you kind of a gap of unknown territory. And when you go for that work, when you accept to take that risk, many times it's a good work, and you have put a step forward by acquiring that work. And some people dare to do that, others are more listening to what their neighbors will think about the work. But I think when you go for your own instinct, and you of course you have to trust yourself, but when a work excites you because of what it brings to you, it's in general a good work, and it has been proven many times. Of course they were more unique. and they have become with time very valuable. Each collection, a good collection, is a portrait of the collector, and it's a never-ended portrait. And some people collect with the idea of, for other reasons, for prestige with their friends or their circle, and many times you find the same works in many different collections. But on the other hand, the buyer includes the word seller. And the collector includes the notion of keeping, of collecting. Never, never nostalgic. No, we are in a different world, a different society, different way of reacting to our time. The qualities of the art have remained the same. The society has changed, the work has changed, the many sources have developed a lot, but I think the criteria are always the same. Yes, definitely. Like watches and cars and many other consumption products. But it does not take away that there are still outstanding, excellent artists. But the number of people buying art has increased a lot, and the sources for acquiring art have multiplied a lot. It does not mean that there are many more excellent artists. It's just what you're happy with, what you're satisfied with. And that remains a matter of taste, of selection, of quality. And I think the excellent artists have not increased in number. But we know more because we are on a global market. And there are excellent artists everywhere who we did not know before. Like there are excellent collectors globally that we did not know before, who we get to know and who we aim at knowing. But proportionally, the proportions are the same. I leave that to my son, next generation. But I think it will be constantly moving on and adapting. It can also, depending on the society or on the whatever economic or other crises that could come up, we don't know that. I don't have a crystal ball. We try to, when we have a chance to work with those works that are offered to us for resale, we try to, of course, work with them and place them in another good collection. We try to know constantly where the work is in order to follow it and to try to give it a new life, a new chapter, without getting lost in an anonymous sphere of the money bubble. We are a committee of 10 galleries, and with the experience I have from the different art fairs all over in the world and the history of the gallery, I can be useful to give my vision on galleries from the Middle East, from Asia, from Latin America, who I know, from Europe, who I know, from France, of course, who I know. So my input is one of 10 members. And of course, I try to promote the galleries I believe in, and I trust their program. And that is my role. But then it's discussed among all the other members with the best they can, with the best they have. Because it's the general quality of an art fair that makes an art fair interesting. And the best example is BASEL, but I think the quality of Miami BASEL has improved tremendously since the beginning. And it then attracts more interesting collectors also, who would not come if the quality was less interesting. But it's not just a question of about BASEL, it's the question of every art fair that should be on the highest possible level and be claiming of the galleries that they bring the best quality as well. And the most representative of the part of the world they come from. I would say to know the situation, where you are, but also to travel a lot to attend as many international exhibitions as possible, and to try to bring artists who have something new and original to say. I think the criteria have not changed since the beginning of my own gallery. The media and the ways of information have become so more global and so much faster that it is probably more time-consuming to be constantly aware of what is going on. But the criteria are the same, is to know what is going on, to know the present history, but also to have a notion of the art history, and to bring artists and accompany them with new expressions of their time and original forms of work. The recipe is the same as ever.